Since my co-host was in the Dominican Republic for weeks and not able to talk, we're bringing back our segment we affectionately call
We have in our house.
Can I talk?
So Nick and I are each going to take 5 minutes here, timer on the clock. Nick, the floor is yours. 5 minutes, whatever you want to talk about, get it off your chest, big guy. Go ahead.
There's so many places. As I was away, I was just, jotting notes down, which is just crazy, right? Like I'm in the Dominican Republic. It is so relaxing, but there's just things standing out to me. First of which, while I was away on the trip, my kid manages to get through this swimming obstacle course, right? And it's all like on flotation devices, and she's doing great. It's like I forgot that show on ABC, Wipeout or whatever. She survives, she makes it, but she's very slow in the way she does it, very tactical. It's a good kid. Unfortunately, there were some haters there, some kids that have just poor parenting that were getting resentful of the fact that she kept completing the course, but she would take her sweet time. So eventually we caught them actually like splashing water at her, trying to get her off that thing. So to those kids, because I did promise my daughter I would bring this up on the show, to those kids, your dad should have put on the condom. There, I said it. That's bad parenting. It's terrible parenting. Who raises their kid to try to push others off of achieving their goals? These are like 10-year-old haters. What the hell's wrong with you? Anyway, rip through a couple of things that stood out to me. First and foremost, a couple of sports things that stood out to me. Yes, Florida State should be in the college football playoffs. Stop crying about it, Alabama. Congratulations that you got in, but it is ridiculous, and I just want to put it out there. And yeah, that was absurd. Shohei Ohtani gets $700 million from the Dodgers. That's awesome for him. For those of you that think it's too much money, according to, if you look up the data, the Dodgers made last year $580 million in a season. So if you don't think over the next 10 years they can afford $700 million for perhaps one of the best pitchers in baseball, one of the best home run hitters in baseball, the modern day version of Babe Ruth, you're fooling yourselves, and stop pocket watching. And also, I paid attention to you folks that were complaining about Shohei's silence throughout this process and his agent, but we're the same people bagging on LeBron because of the decision. So which way do you want it? Do you want silence from the athletes, or do you want people to make a public spectacle of their free agency decisions? The reality is you don't want either, because you're a hater, and shut up. And that seems to be what the recurring theme of this rant is about. Trump's response to Liz Cheney was classic Trump. It's crazy. It sounded like something he was on a toilet bowl and just tweeted it, middle of the night. Shout out to Confifi. Heard Mike Johnson on a hot mic, courtesy of Rolling Stone, on a Facebook video was taken down, talking about, what was the quote? It was something, the quote read, because he was recognizing the fact that there wasn't press there. So he was quoted as saying, "I'll tell you a secret, since media is not here," and paraphrase now, God had spoken to him about having a news speaker, and also that Johnson would be able to be like a Moses-like figure leading the GOP and the country through a Red Sea moment. How are you going to do all that when Satan is the head of your party right now? Think about that. But while we're talking about politics, on the other side, shout out to Governor Hochul of New York for doing what I think was impossible to do, which was to smile while telling New Yorkers you're about to screw them. Not just New Yorkers, people in Connecticut and New Jersey who drive into the city. Congestion pricing by New York was an asinine idea. She should be voted out for it. I don't care if we put another Democrat in or a Republican. Again, not politics on this show. That was shameful to sit there and say, well, we are the first state to have congestion pricing. Congratulations, you moron. You may be the last state that has congestion pricing. And to be proud of that, you're sticking it to drivers. This perception that in New York people must have this much money to drive in the city. No, they have jobs in the city because New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and all other neighboring states can't get it together and have the kind of infrastructure financially that New York has. Why are we celebrating charging New Yorkers? You want to reduce congestion? How about you improve mass transit, which you'd have to do in partnership with the Port Authority and Connecticut and New Jersey, but you don't want to do that. Instead, you want to stick it to drivers. If the Democratic Party is just so obsessed with sticking to people that they think they have money as opposed to actually going over the people that do, congratulations on losing your elections. I have 45 seconds left. Liz Cheney is talking about running as a third-party candidate. Awesome. It's a loser idea, but whatever. There was a crazy story in the Washington Post about some stocks or some shorting of stocks as related to October 7th. Companies either based out of Tel Aviv or companies that were considered of Israel. That is shameful and disgusting and all kinds of levels of creepy if you're paying attention to it. And lastly, sadly, Kate Cox in Texas, who had to leave the state to get an abortion 20 weeks in because of a life-threatening illness that her child has, who the fetus will not survive, had to leave because Texas is a horrible state right now. Shame on you, Greg Abbott.
All right, great job by you there, my compatriot. Sounded like you had a lot to get off your chest. That's what happens when you go away for 2 weeks and you're just taking notes and kids are making fun of your daughter. And shout out to her for telling her dad, who has a platform, to be able to go shame those kids. I like that. All right, my time, hit the timer for me there. Tim, this has finally happened. It's a moment you and I have been waiting for. People are listening to this show in droves. When we started this show, we talked about our goals, potentially at worst, leaving our kids something to listen to. At best, thousands of people are listening to us, and you and I have platforms, and I'm on television now. You have another show with the education show. So it is finally coming home to roost. But something is eating at me, because with this fame, with this heightened celebrity, whatever you want to call it, whatever modicum of it is, now comes texts, DMs, emails of the folks that think they can do what you do better than you. And I'm always reminded of that great quote in The Dark Knight by Harvey Dent.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
And unfortunately right now, I'm Harvey Dent, because I'm about to go two-faced. And it's really about the text messages and exchanges I've had with some friends, close friends of mine, that are really upset at the way we've been covering the Israel-Palestine conflict. Some people don't like it when you say that there are innocent Gazans that are being blown to smithereens right now, and the Israel response has been disproportionate. They think you're a Hamas supporter. If you're pointing out the humanitarian part in all of this, and the innocent kids, children, elderly, men and women that are being lost, all because of this war. But you can also juxtapose that by understanding what happened on October 7th and calling out Hamas and vilifying them for killing innocent kids that were at a concert, for attacking kibbutzes and killing innocent people. It's shameful of them. I wish Hamas wasn't around. I wish Hamas would surrender 100%. But I am not a subject matter expert in this conflict. Neither is Nick Savary. So guess what we do on this show, Nick? The tagline of this show is that we talk to people who know what they're talking about. And that's exactly what we do. We bring people on here who are professors at university teaching about this conflict. They've written books about this conflict. We even had a journalist who is stationed out there in this conflict. And this is what she said about this conflict.
One of the big problems with Israel and Palestine is that everyone has an opinion. If there was a civil war happening in Colombia, everyone and his father wouldn't stand up and decide that they're an expert. But for some reason, because this conflict is so long running, because there is such a huge Jewish diaspora around the world, Muslim diaspora around the world, Palestinian diaspora around the world, everyone has an opinion. But everyone thinks they have an informed opinion.
Layla Milana Allen is a PBS special correspondent. She's been covering Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Israel, Palestine, the West Bank for over 20 years. Nick, have you and I done any of that? No. That's why we shut up and listen to subject matter experts. And let me tell you who's not a subject matter expert. You out there who happens to know me, but have a degree in something that is not Middle Eastern studies. You're not a professor anywhere. You're not on any networks. You're not talking to people on the ground. You're not a journalist covering any of this. That's why we go and get the information from these other people. And then we make our ultimate determination. But to Layla's point, I have no opinion about this because I'm not a subject matter expert in this. So that's why Nick and I started this show, because we wanted to learn more about it. And so for the folks that have been texting me and hitting me up saying that I'm biased one way or this way, or I'm not showing enough support to Israel, or I'm not doing this because, I'm not showing enough support to Palestine, whatever it is, I don't even need the full 5 minutes because this is common sense. This isn't rocket science. We are on the side of humanity. I want the innocent killing of kids to stop. I wish October 7th had never happened. I know that Hamas is inflicting terror, but I also know that Israel is doing the same exact thing right now. And that is not anti-Semitic to say. But also I know what I don't know. And so that's when I shut up and I listen to subject matter experts who come on this show. If you want to learn more, you want to ride the information train with us, this is your home. But if you think for some reason, because we didn't appease to what you want to hear, then this is not the show for you. I leave it like that. That's my time. All right, Nick, next episode, we're going to have a great NPR correspondent coming down to help us break down a bunch of different stuff that's happening in the world of former President Trump and in DC. If you want to check out the video portions of any of the interviews we've done on the show, especially the one we did with Layla Milana Allen over at PBS, head over to our YouTube channel, type in Can We Please Talk Podcast. We should pop right up. Audio podcast platforms, you know by now, Apple, Spotify, Google. Shout out to everyone that listens to us on Good Pods. Shout out to Acast, our hosting platform. We can't do it without them, and we can't do it without each and every one of you that listens to this program. Truly, we mean it. Hey, thanks for watching the Can We Please Talk podcast. Whatever clip you just watched, we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you stick around for some more. Subscribe to the channel. My partner's over here smashing the button. Come on, do him a favor. So hit subscribe.